A statement of facts. The following descriptions of past events are but a few of the highlights that have taken place over the last 5 years and are in no way meant to suggest or imply these statements contain all of the events and or crimes committed against my person during this time. In addition, certain names, etc., have been redacted and will be referenced by, you can see right there, in order to, amongst other things, maintain confidentiality. Beginning around late winter to early spring of 2020, I began noticing glitches on my phone that had no explanation. In or around April of 2020, I opened a post on Facebook and discovered possible malware. I reset all my passwords and notified my friends on Facebook. Several weeks later, I received an email from someone unfamiliar to me saying, "Stop emailing my husband." Knowing I hadn't emailed anything of the sort, I ignored it. A couple of weeks later, I received another email from the same sender stating, "Stop emailing my husband. This is your last warning." Upon further examination of the email, I noticed that an email address corresponding to a virgin.com was there. I replied explaining I had recently encountered malware and had no connection to any adult websites. It was related to my old handle that was stolen. So, by the end of June 2020, too many glitches and oddities were occurring on my phone, so I purchased a new one. And then within the span of 6 days, the 3 closest people or friends were literally ripped out of my life. The only clue I have as to why comes from the one who called saying, "I can't believe you would say this, believe these things, ... before hanging up and blocking my phone calls, messages, etc. Having not said or done anything that would remotely elicit such a reaction, I am still bewildered. I've never been able to reach the remaining 2, one of which had been a friend for approximately 15 years. The remaining weeks of July 2020 were a whirlwind of account lockouts. By the end of July, all accounts, email, financial, social, streaming, everything, were no longer accessible, some of which I had had for more than 10 years. In addition, I had purchased at least one more phone and removed the SIM card and the battery from the first one I purchased on or around July 1st, 2020, that was clearly compromised. On August 1st, 2020, I met with KCPD Officer Simbro, he is now retired, to file a complaint that included several thousands of dollars in stolen financial digital property. I also turned over the phone purchased on or around July 1st, 2020, that had the SIM card and battery removed. Officer Simbro gave me a complaint number, 2005-1655, and filed. Placed my complaint in the system on August 2nd of 2020. The eviction mentioned in the complaint was ruled illegal by the Kansas Civil Courts and case number. Over the next few weeks, multiple phones were affected. In trying to help, AT&T attempted to do a hard reset. This resulted in a picture of an Android laying flat on its back with its stomach flap open and an exclamation mark on the middle of that flap. Several hours later, I was contacted by the IT experts at AT&T and told, whatever malware that is, we can't even get off. The iPhone I purchased with Verizon actually captured and showed on screen more than a minute of scrolling code. Both a representative from AT&T and Verizon emailed Officer Simbro stating my situation needed to be seriously investigated. Around mid-August 2020, I had a service tech from Spectrum arrive at my house to investigate some oddities I was experiencing. After inspecting my box and the local connection, he stated that he couldn't locate the cause locally, but he had a hunch. This would require him heading to the Spectrum substation, he described it that way, and he would text when he got there. Approximately 30 minutes later, I received a text from him saying, there is a serious problem. I never heard from him again, nor would Spectrum provide any answers. Towards the end of August 2020, I returned to KCPD and spoke with Officer Simbro again. After sharing the aforementioned events amongst others, Officer Cimbro's only response was, "Oh, I haven't checked my emails lately." As I continued to experience constant harassment, many attempts were made to provide further evidence to KCPD. All were met with complete disregard, with one KCPD supervisor stating, "What do you expect us to do about it?" During January of 2022, I received a voicemail claiming to be from a clerk at the Jackson County Court, where I had a civil hearing on January 20th. On or around January 18th, the message stated that they had gone back to remote hearings, and I was to call on the 20th, and I would be placed in a queue, and my call would be answered upon my case being called. On January 20th at 9 a.m., I called and was placed in the queue. An hour later, having remained in the queue with no answer, I called the clerk of the court and was told she had never left a message and that a default judgment had been entered as I was not present. In or around March 2020, I opened an account with blank and blank, both private accounts. Excuse me. Through one, I hired 2 people to help me move. I confirmed just before heading to the house I was moving from. By the time I arrived approximately 30 minutes later, without my knowledge or consent, my account had been accessed and the job I had hired the 2 people to do had been canceled. Along with a family member, I went to the local KCPD station to file a supplemental report to my original complaint, 200516555, filed August 2nd, 2020, only to be told my original complaint could not be found in the systems. In or around April 2022, the second private account I referenced above was accessed by KCPD officer blank, and without a warrant, subpoena, my knowledge, or consent, instructed and caused changes to my personal account. In or around April 2023, a liaison between blank and KCPD attempted to locate my original complaint. Unable to find it, she contacted a KCPD officer, name omitted, who was unable to locate the complaint either. Around the same time, blank and blank witnessed a phone conversation between myself and my phone carrier customer service. According to the representative, the cell phone number listed on my account was not the telephone number blank had called and I had answered from, and also vice versa. In or around November 2023, I returned to KCPD station in an effort to elicit an investigation. With a family member present, I was told my original complaint was in the system, and as such, no need to file an additional complaint. Shortly following, I contacted ADA blank with the district attorney's office, sharing much of what I have said in this statement. Though several messages have been left, I have not heard from anyone in the DA's office or KCPD. The harassment continues today, and losses are well over 100,000. Signed, me. This happened. It is all true. Help!